Hello and welcome. Today I bring you a special story full of wisdom, courage, and reflection. Get ready to dive into The Mouse and the Cat's Bell. In an old countryside house, where the walls creaked with age and the wind whispered through broken shutters, lived a community of mice. Though dusty and forgotten by humans, this house was a paradise for them. The attic was full of grain, the pantry still held dry pieces of cheese, and if one was bold enough, even forgotten cookies could be found under the furniture. But their days of abundance came with a great danger. Sir Whiskers the cat, a stealthy, clever, and feared hunter. Sir Whiskers was not a young cat anymore, nor particularly fast, but he was wise and terribly patient. He moved like a shadow, silent and invisible. Often, the mice didn't even know he was there until it was too late. Every week, a mouse would disappear. Sometimes it was little Nicholas, other times Aunt Remedies, and more recently, old Mateo, the wise one who knew every secret tunnel in the house. The community lived in constant fear. Every night, they gathered in a hidden burrow beneath the floorboards to discuss how to survive. "We can't keep living like this," cried Carmela, a strong-willed mouse. "Mateo is gone. If even he couldn't escape, what hope do we have?" "We need a plan," agreed Benito, a young but brave mouse with a half-bitten ear from a past encounter with Sir Whiskers. It was then that old Silvino, the eldest among them, raised his tiny paw. "I have an idea," he said in a trembling but clear voice. "If we could hang a bell around the cat's neck, we'd hear him coming. That way we could escape in time. No more surprises." A murmur rose in the crowd. The idea sounded brilliant. The mice began to imagine a new world, running freely through the kitchen, playing in cupboards, and resting without fear. "It's a wonderful idea," shouted Carmela. "Brilliant," added Benito. "A bell on the cat. Then we'll always know where he is." But the excitement faded quickly when someone asked the inevitable question. "And who will put the bell on the cat?" An awkward silence fell over the burrow. All eyes shifted nervously. "Benito." He looked down. "Carmela." She shrugged. "Silvino." He sank deeper into his corner as if the idea no longer belonged to him. Minutes passed. Some coughed. Others scratched their ears. Finally, Benito muttered, "Well, it's still a good idea, isn't it?" "Of course, but someone has to do it," said Carmela. "Yes, but that someone won't be me," Benito quickly added. "Nor me," another voice said. "I can't. I have a family," cried a chubby mouse. The meeting ended with excuses, fear, and resignation. Even though everyone agreed it was a clever plan, no one had the courage to carry it out. Days passed. Some mice tried to be more cautious. Others stopped leaving their nests altogether. But Sir Whiskers kept hunting, patient and precise. The bell never rang, for it was never placed. One windy night, when the shutters rattled and the house moaned like a ship lost at sea, Benito and Carmela met secretly near the pantry. "You know," said Benito, "sometimes I dream about the sound of that bell ringing as Sir Whiskers walks." "Me too," whispered Carmela. "And in the dream, we all run safely together without fear. But I always wake up before I see who tied the bell. Maybe that's the problem. We're all waiting for someone else." Carmela looked at him, her eyes heavy with sorrow. Silence wrapped them like a blanket. One morning, the mice woke up to a disaster. The pantry was empty. The humans had finally moved away for good, taking all the food with them. Now, hunger joined fear as their greatest enemy. The mice were forced to look for food outside the house, in the barn, or even the open fields. But to do so, they had to cross the very halls where Sir Whiskers prowled. Urgency turned fear into desperation. Another meeting was called. This time, not just Carmela and Benito spoke. Even the most timid mice knew that something had to be done. "If we don't act now, we'll starve or be eaten," cried a young mouse. "Enough waiting," another shouted. "Let's go back to the bell plan." But once again, the same old question stopped everything. Who will bell the cat? That night, Benito left alone. He carried a small bell he had found on an old doll, tied with a strip of leather. His paws trembled with every step, but his eyes glowed with determination. He crept through the tunnels until he reached the attic, where the cat often slept. There he was, curled on an old wool blanket, snoring softly. Benito's heart beat like a drum. He climbed a box, then a chair, and finally reached the shelf where Sir Whiskers lay. The cat stirred a little. Benito froze. He waited, then continued. Carefully, silently, he slid the strap around the cat's neck, just beneath his worn-out collar. When he finished, he scurried down as quickly and quietly as possible, tumbling, rolling, hiding. He waited behind a box. Minutes later, the cat stretched, yawned, and jingle-jingle. The bell rang. It was soft but clear. All around the house, mice perked up their ears. "What was that?" asked one. "Is that the cat?" "The bell. The bell is ringing." From that night forward, everything changed. Every time Sir Whiskers moved, the bell gave him away. The mice became nimble, organized, confident. No longer easy prey. Benito never spoke of what he did. Only Carmela knew, and she promised to keep a secret. The others called it the miracle of the bell, and many took it as a sign of hope. But Benito knew the truth. Sometimes, miracles only need a little courage. Moral: brilliant ideas can change the world, but only if someone has the courage to carry them out. Talking is easy. Action takes true bravery. And that's the end of The Mouse and the Cat's Bell. A story that reminds us that great ideas aren't enough. You need courage to make them real. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this. Thank you for listening, and until next time.